Isang mapagpalang araw sa inyong lahat, mga kamag-aral. Ako po ang inyong lingkod, Sir Mandy, na magbabahagi sa inyo ng isa na namang math video tutorial para sa araw na ito. Ang topic natin sa araw na ito ay tungkol sa distance formula. These are our objectives for today. Number 1, find the distance between 2 points using the distance formula. And number 2, apply distance formula, improving properties of some geometric figures. Ano nga ba yung distance formula? According to this, the distance d between points A with coordinates x sub 1, y sub 1, and B with coordinates x sub 2, y sub 2 may be found using the formula d is equal to the square root of the quantity of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus the quantity of y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. Let us have this sample problem number 1. Plot and solve the distance between points A with coordinates 1, 1 and point B with coordinate 2, 4 in the coordinate plane. So for the solution, maglalagay tayo ng isang coordinate plane. Then let us plot point A, which is 1, 1. Ito siya. And point B, that is 2, 4. Ito siya. And then let us connect the line. So to find the distance na between A and B, using the formula, the square root of the quantity of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus the quantity of y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared, let x sub 1 is equal to 1 and y sub 1 is equal to 1 and x sub 2 is equal to 2 and y sub 2 is equal to 4. So by substitution, we have the square root of the quantity of 2 minus 1 squared plus the quantity of 4 minus 1 squared, which is equal to the square root of 1 squared plus 3 squared. So to continue, square of 1 is 1 and square of 3 is 9. So we have the square root of 1 plus 9, which is equal to the square root of 10. So therefore, the distance between points A and B is equal to the square root of 10 units. For example number 2, show that the figure formed when points L with coordinates negative 4, 4, O with coordinates 3, 9, B with coordinates 8, 2, E with coordinates 1, negative 3, are connected consecutively is a square. And then, find its perimeter. Kapag nagplot tayo sa Cartesian plane ng mga points L, O, V, E, ito ang magiging itsura niya. And in order to prove na itong figure ay square, dapat may pakita natin na yung length ng apat na sides are equal and at the same time, yung angle formed by the two sides is a right angle. Now, let us show that the lengths of segment LO, segment OB, segment BE, and segment LE are congruent. For the length of segment LO, using the distance formula, let x sub 1 equals negative 4, y sub 1 equals 4, x sub 2 equals 3, and y sub 2 equals 9. So by substitution, we have the square root of the quantity of 3 minus negative 4 squared plus the quantity of 9 minus 4 squared, which is also equal to the square root of 7 squared plus 5 squared. To simplify, we have the square root of 49 plus 25, which is equal to the square root of 74. Therefore, the length of segment LO is equal to the square root of 74 units. Now, let us have the length of segment OB this time. Okay, so let x sub 1 is equal to 3, and y sub 1 is equal to 9, x sub 2 is equal to 8, and y sub 2 is equal to 2. Okay, so by substitution, we have the square root of the quantity of 8 minus 3 squared plus the quantity of 2 minus 9 squared. And that is equal to the square root of 5 squared plus negative 7 squared. So to continue, we have the square root of 25 plus 49, which is also equal to the square root of 74. It means the length of segment OB is also equal to the square root of 74 units. So this time, let us find out the length of segment VE. Using the distance formula, let x sub 1 is equal to 8, y sub 1 is equal to 2, x sub 2 is equal to 1, and y sub 2 is equal to negative of 3. So by substitution, we have the square root of the quantity of 1 minus 8 squared plus the quantity of negative 3 minus 2 squared, which is also equal to the square root of negative 7 squared plus negative 5 squared. Therefore, we have the square root of 49 plus 25, and that is also equal to the square root of 74. It means that the length of segment VE is also equal to the square root of 74 units. Lastly, let us find out the length of segment LE. Again, using the distance formula, let x sub 1 equals negative 4, y sub 1 equals 4, x sub 2 equals 1, and y sub 2 equals negative of 3. Okay, by substitution, we have the square root of the quantity of 1 minus negative 4 squared plus the quantity of negative 3 minus 4 squared. And that is equal to the square root of 5 squared plus negative 7 squared. So to simplify, we have now the square root of 25 plus 49, which is also equal to the square root of 74. It follows that the length of segment LE is also equal to the square root of 74 units. So based sa ating computation, segment LO, segment OB, segment VE, and segment LE are all equal to the square root of 74 units, which means that segment LO, segment OB, segment VE, and segment LE are all congruent. This time naman, let us show that all angles L, O, V, and E are right angles. Note that if two lines are perpendicular, then they form a right angle and their slopes are negative reciprocal of each other. And in order to prove that those angles are right angles, kailangan nating balikan yung concept ng slopes. The slope of a line M given 2 points having the coordinates x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2 is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Let us find first the slope of segment LO. Using the formula, we have 9 minus 4 all over 3 minus the negative of 4, which is equal to 5 over 7. Then for the slope of segment LE, so we have negative 3 minus 4 all over 1 minus negative of 4, which is equal to negative 7 over 5. To compare the slope of segment LO and the slope of segment LE, so we can see that the slope of segment LO and segment LE are negative reciprocal. In that case, angle L is a right angle. Next, let us now find the slope of segment OV. So using again the formula, we have 2 minus 9 over 8 minus 3, which is equal to negative 7 over 5. To compare the slope of segment LO, which is equal to 5 over 7, and slope of segment OV, which is equal to negative 7 over 5, since the slope of segment LO and segment OV are negative reciprocal, it means that angle O is a right angle. Next, let us find the slope of segment BE. So using the formula, we have negative 3 minus 2 all over 1 minus 8, which is equal to negative 5 over negative 7, or equal to 5 over 7. Comparing the slope of segment OV, which is equal to negative 7 over 5, and slope of segment BE, which is equal to 5 over 7. So, since the slope of segment OV and segment BE are negative reciprocal, it means angle V is a right angle. And lastly, comparing the slope of segment LE, which is equal to negative 7 over 5, and slope of segment BE, which is equal to 5 over 7. So the slope of segment LE and segment BE are negative reciprocal. It follows that angle E is also a right angle. Para sa ating conclusion, since all the sides of the figure are congruent and all the angles are right angles, then quadrilateral LOVE is a square. And to find the perimeter of the square, perimeter is equal to 4 times its sides, which is equal to 4 times the square root of 74. And this is approximately equal to 34.41 units. Now let us have the last example. Prove that the two sides of an isosceles triangle are congruent. Given that triangle ABC with sides segment AB, segment BC, and segment AC, and prove that segment AB is congruent to segment BC. So to prove, place triangle ABC on the coordinate plane and label the coordinate points as shown below. So using the figure, let us find the distance between points A and B using the distance formula. So let x sub 1 is equal to negative x and y sub 1 is equal to 0, and then x sub 2 is equal to 0 and y sub 2 is equal to y. So by substitution, we have distance AB is equal to the square root of the quantity of 0 minus negative x squared plus y minus 0 squared, To simplify, we have the square root of x squared plus y squared. And the distance between AB is equal to the square root of x squared, y squared. This time, let us find the distance between points B and C. Using the distance formula, let x sub 1 is equal to 0, y sub 1 is equal to y, x sub 2 is equal to x, y sub 2 is equal to 0. By substitution, we have the square root of the quantity of x minus 0 squared plus 0 minus y squared. And that is equal to the square root of the quantity of x squared plus negative y squared. Therefore, the distance between B and C is also equal to the square root of x squared, y squared. And since the distance between A and B is equal to the square root of x squared plus y squared, and the distance between B and C is also equal to the square root of x squared plus y squared, masasabi natin na sa segment AB is congruent to segment BC, which prove that the two sides of an isosceles triangle are congruent. At bago magtapos, here are some suggestions to help you place figures for your proofs. Number 1, use the origin of the coordinate plane as vertex or center of the figure. Number 2, place at least one side of the figure on a coordinate axis, either the x or y axis. Number 3, keep the figure within the first quadrant if possible. And number 4, use coordinates that make computations as simple as possible.
At bago magpaalam, huwag pong kalimutang i-like and share ang aking video lesson at please subscribe na rin po sa aking YouTube channel, Kamat Aral TV, for more video lesson to come. Maraming salamat sa inyong panonood at pakikinig. Hanggang sa muli, Kamataral, paalam!